Okay.
Hi, everybody.
Hello.
Boa noite a todos, pessoal. Sejam bem-vindos a mais uma sessão comentada do 17º Fantaspoa. O Fantaspoa 2021 conta com o patrocínio da Lei 14.017 de 2020, Aldir Blanc. A gente conta hoje com a mediação da Daniela Monteiro, que está falando conosco lá de Portugal, e, a partir de Londres, contamos com a presença do querido diretor Karl Holt para falar com vocês sobre Benny Loves You.
Totalmente internacional.
And thank you so much.
Hi, guys. I'm here with Karl Holt, the director of Benny Loves You.
Hello, everybody.
I can see Benny behind you.
Yeah, that's full-size Benny that we used in the film.
Benny, just to be clear, I don't like Jack. Okay? I don't like Jack.
That's me. And we got little Benny. So
he's so cute.
Yeah, he's got a little voice box in him.
Oh my God.
So there's Benny that was used in the film and little Bennies.
Two Bennies.
Two Bennies.
Okay. First of all, I have to ask you a serious question. Was any teddy bear injured during the filming of Benny Loves You?
As many as we could injure, yes. I got, but only teddy bears, nothing else. We actually got, because we knew we were going to do that, we actually got some of the bears that get chopped up and maimed and their heads taken off. We actually got a woman in Germany to make some bespoke bears for us, because I was concerned, even on a copyright level, that if we started to, cut the head off Buzz Lightyear or someone, that we would get shamed for that. So, yeah, we did. We made sure that all the tears that we killed were special teddy bears.
That's too bad. Did you have a Benny when you were a child?
I had, yeah. I guess my version of Benny is actually. Do you know Scooby-Doo?
Yeah.
In Brazil? Okay, so Scooby-Doo. I had this Scooby-Doo, and he was. I think I had him when I was about 5 years old, and as I got older, I used to practice my taekwondo on him, poor thing, and so he got quite battered as the years went on, and he got but then as you get older, you get more sentimental, and I stitched him back up, and I think he's the only teddy bear that's kind of survived my childhood, and I've still got him. He's in my bed.
God, that responds my next question. Do you have your childhood toys? Do you still have?
I have some of them, yeah. I don't. The thing is, I don't use them. It's a weird thing, nostalgia, isn't it? They're in the loft. So, like, all my toys are in a box in the loft. And then every time I go in the loft, I go, all right, I should throw this out, because you forget that it's there. But
don't do that.
Yeah, all the memories come back, and you just...
Totally.
You just want to keep
what inspired you to write this movie? Maybe another killer toy movie like Child's Play or Puppet Master, or some Toy Story evil version?
I mean, the idea comes from probably multiple of those movies. The short film that we made of this over 10 years ago was called Eddie Loves You, and that was with a little Elmo toy in it. So kind of this film, Benny Loves You, is like a rewrite of that movie. But I didn't want to just, so it's an influence of all those things, but I wanted something with a bit of heart, more based on comedy. I mean, it's not a scary movie. It's really slapstick and just humorous. And I wanted to have some heart underneath it. So it was taking little bits of elements from each one and shoving it together into hopefully something, unique and interesting.
And how did Benny come to life? The practical effects or CGI?
It's a mixture of both. I would say 90% of the time it's CG. Some people say, "Oh, I can tell when it's CG," but there'll be other parts of the film where you won't. It's whenever
there is some parts that it's kind of you throwing out the toy to people. Yeah, boo.
Yes, well, those may be real. Like anytime you see somebody holding him like this,
yeah,
I've got my hands on him. Yeah, he'll be real for those shots, but I'd say practically any time you see him move across the screen, that will be CG. He'll be animated for that because because it was important that I got the right movement for him. You know, the floppy arms and he was meant, when he was animated, I wanted it to look like he'd been picked up by a child and played with, not that, you know, he was moving like a human.
A puppeteer, nah? Moving his legs like a puppeteer.
Exactly, exactly that, yeah.
And you did a lot of things in this movie. You are the director, the main actor, the editor, the producer, the everything. What was the most easy thing to do and the most difficult one?
Well, nothing was easy, but I'll say the most enjoyable thing is editing for me. I love editing because it's the bit where you can just sit and focus, and whatever all the footage you've got, you go through it and you try to build the original idea that you had in your head. Because I think when you think of a film, a lot of it's already edited up there, and that's the process of trying to match the footage to what you originally thought about. And that process I really, really enjoy. I hated producing the film. Like, oh my God, that was horrible.
You have to think a lot of things you don't want to think.
Oh, of course, it's like, and it's nothing to do with the creative process. Nothing. It's all it's scheduling. It's
bureaucracy,
building props. Yeah, legal stuff. You know, when we turned up to actually film it, we were doing so many things that you lose a sense of where you are in the script or what you're doing. It's it's a minor miracle when it comes together and there's a story that has any continuity at all, really.
And it was it difficult to be the director and the main actor at the same time?
Yeah, but that was really just due to budgetary reasons. You know, I don't think we could have afforded, in the way that we structured the film, to have somebody else in the lead role. And also, we were filming at my friend's house. You know, the house in the movie it belongs to one of my friends, and we hired a little room in the back of the house. It's a lovely house, yeah. And but he was the owner of the house was living there, and he actually had two friends that were staying there. So there was only, even though it's a big house, I think there was 3 spare bedrooms in the house. So I was like, well, I've got to act in this, because there was nowhere else for another actor to stay. You had to be really careful when the actors came down. Like, we'd have to make sure that we had beds for them. And it's a small thing that you don't think of, but you know, the smaller the crew, the better in a situation like that. Otherwise, you have to pay a fortune putting people up in hotels. So it was kind of made practical sense for me to be in anything, but it wasn't easy. Though.
And have you always wanted to be a movie director?
No. I mean that happened, but more of a writer director. That's what I want to be. I mean, going here forward, I may do some cameos in some films, but I think for the next one, you know, if we can get some proper funding behind us and do it with a proper larger crew, I would be much happier just being behind the camera. And because, you know, the more you dilute yourself on the day, you know, the more it impacts production. You know, like say on a typical day, I was even doing things like continuity. You know, making sure that I was wearing the right things from day to day, you know, sometimes catering, hiring any props that we needed on the day, and acting as well. So it get to a point where you're like, I'm not really directing anymore. I'm doing so many other things that the directing's actually, it feels like
everything.
Yeah, and it suffers from it. So going forward, writer director would be my preference. But yeah, I'll do a cameo, because sometimes it's quite fun. You're under so much pressure that sometimes just when you're acting, you can have fun. And there were days where I actually really enjoyed it, because it took my mind off all the other bullshit that was going on.
And how long did it take to make Benny Loves You?
Oh, really long. So we shot
your first feature film, isn't it?
It is my first feature film. We shot it in 2014. Well, everything at the house was shot in 2014. And then,
wow.
Yeah, I know. This is why there's out-of-date Prince jokes in it, because he died in between the completion of the film and the final edit. And in 2015, we shot the offices. So there's about a 6-month gap between the stuff that was shot in the house and the offices. And like one of our actors, you can see, you know, either gains or loses weight from one point of the film to the other. Because there was this,
I didn't notice.
Well, good. I'm glad nobody. But I mean, even I do as well in the shots. And so it was then about 4 years after that. So I spent from 2015 to 2019 editing it and doing all the special effects and composing the music, and doing all the Foley work. So yeah, it was like 4 years in post-production after we finished shooting in 2015. So it's a 5-year labor of love for me, and not something that I was just doing at weekends and evenings, but actually every day. I was out there every day for 4 years finishing the film. So it's good to finally get it done and get it out there,
I have a theory about Benny and Jack. Can I share it with you?
You can.
Maybe it's silly, but I think Benny is Jack's subconscious, refusing to be a grown-up man, settle down, have responsibilities and all. What do you think?
That's exactly the theme. It's funny because some people have watched the film and say, oh, it's just a load of fun nonsense and there's nothing to say, but there is actually, you've picked up on it, there is actually a little theme there, which is that, a lot of these films, you hear about these man-child movies where, a character has to learn to grow up and move on. This is almost the reverse of that, where the character is forced to grow up and forced to deny who he really is. So he takes everything that he loves, everything that's his entire personality, and just throws it in the basement and boxes it up. And then, of course, Benny comes bubbling to life from that. And it's like Benny kind of represents all of those childish instincts that Jack's repressing. And it comes back in. So it's kind of, he's almost
35
like
years living with his parents.
Yes, okay, and that too, and the frustrations bubbling up. So yeah, Benny definitely does, and and there's things in the film like you'll see that Jack has a little vision that he's going to stab a guy in the hand with a pen, and then later Benny stabs somebody in the hand with a pen. So there's a lot of things that Benny only ever kills people that Jack would like to kill himself. So yes, there's definitely a psychological connection between them. He's like a repressed, out of control version of his psyche.
Interesting. And another thing, did the politically incorrect tone of the film worry you at any point? There are animals and a child killed. Didn't you get criticism for that?
Well, I mean, when you're making a film on your own, there's nobody to give you criticism. So we'll see when the public comes up. But that doesn't worry me. I mean, my view of this is not politically incorrect if it's even. So everyone in this film gets killed and abused, children, animals, pets, humans. It's not like we're focusing on one area and saying, oh, this is, but I think it's kind of, it's
his
all
mother and his father.
And his mother and his father. And you can't take it seriously. I think that's the thing. If this had been a serious movie and then there was one moment like that, I would agree with you. But when the whole film is just patently absurd, I think it's fine. I think it's it's a very cartoon kind of violence. It's not a realistic violence, particularly when you look at the dog getting killed or something. It's so stupid that I don't think you can take it seriously, and it's not meant to be either.
And changing the subject, Richard, whatever was his name, was inspired in some colleague of work because he's really annoying.
Yes. Well, I would say he's kind of a couple of characters that are fused together. But yeah, there was somebody that I knew at college that was a massive Prince fan and would just go to the, when somebody goes to the absolute nth degree to explain their love for somebody, and it's completely over the top. So I'd say most of the characters in the film I think most writers probably do this. They take them from other people in their lives. So it's a bit from here and a bit from there. But yeah, he's a compilation of a few people.
I think he's annoying, but kind of funny. I like the scenes when he appears, talking about Prince. Oh my God, Prince is dead. Yeah, he's talking about Prince like he's alive or something. Hey, man.
When we made the film, Prince was very much alive.
Oh, yeah, 2014. Yeah, he was
He was
alive.
very much alive. So I was
But
concerned.
2016, I think.
It was
5
in the
years.
middle of editing. Yeah, it was in the middle of editing the film, and I heard Prince died, and I was like, "Oh my God!" Like, and I thought, "How do I get round this?" And I thought it doesn't matter because it could be a Prince tribute act, and you know, Richard would still go and see it. So you can't, but unfortunately, you can't change things like that. Like all the mobile phones in there are from like 2013.
And I like all the reference from the 80s, you know, Simon Says, the shoulder pads. I love the shoulder pads. I miss the shoulder pads. How old are you?
I'm 46 now.
Oh.
So yeah, I'm old. Well,
I can relate to you. I'm 44 and I pick up all the 80s reference.
Yeah, a lot of people do, and it's good. And a lot of people seem to pick up on all the other horror movie references in there as well, which is nice. You know, the references to sort of Halloween and Texas Chainsaw Massacre, and there's so many in there. I've kind of forgotten what they are because it's, you know, you write them in and execute them, and years later you just watch it as your film and you forget, oh, that bit's an influence from that and that and that. But there's loads of 80s, you know, Gremlins is in there as well.
Yeah. And Disco Rabbit. I love the Disco Rabbit.
He's quite cute, isn't he? But yeah, that was meant to be.
Disco is so cool.
Yeah,
and the name AIDS. It's wonderful.
It's all the rage. It's all the rage.
What was your favorite scene of the film?
Oh my God! I haven't
One
been
that
asked
you
that before.
thought with. I love this scene.
Oh, I think I like the end of the film because that's kind of where the heart of the film is. I mean, am I right in saying that everybody watching this stream now has seen the movie? I wouldn't be giving spoilers if I said something about the end, would I?
Everyone in the chat.
No, I'll say anyway. I mean, at the end of the film, when Benny takes the decision to make a sacrifice, I mean, I think that's like
that's beautiful.
That's kind of the heart of the movie, that it's the first time that he's not selfish and you know, and genuinely does something to try and help Jack.
And that proves that he really loves Jack.
Of course, yeah, he always did. He was never out to cause problems for him. It's just that he's very impish and doesn't have control of his emotions, you know.
You have any new movie coming up?
At the moment, I'm writing a couple of things, but it will depend on the reaction to this because I've always been a person that's written to whatever budget I've got. So whenever there's a short film, it will be like, oh, we can film it in your back garden, or I know this house, we can film it here. So now it's going to be, well, I've got a couple of ideas, but I don't know what's open to me. So we'll have to wait and see. But I'm definitely going to make something else. The question just is, you know, what financial backing will we get, and that will determine the shape of what I write.
Okay, I'm gonna see if there's a question here in the chat. A lot of people saying loves Benny.
I saw someone say something about Norman Bates.
I'm not Norman Bates. Oh, Psycho.
Actually, yes, that line is that why I'm not Norman Bates in the film. It's like, yes, because Jack's kind of dark personality comes out in the form of Benny. But there was also another line. There was also a bit that we chopped out of that when Jack first meets Tara. You know, when he brings the girl back to his house, and then she realizes he lives with his parents. We filmed that scene, like all the dead bodies coming out of the cupboard. It's, you know, it's toys, but it's meant to be like the end of Halloween. But in that scene there was a little piece that was cut out where he says to Tara, I'm not Norman Bates, you know. And she says, who's Norman Bates? And he says, well, you know.
Thank God.
he used to, you know, dress like a woman. And she says, why would you be like him? He says, I'm not like him. And then she storms out and leaves. So that second bit in the film where he says to Dawn, I'm not Norman Bates, and she knows exactly who Norman Bates is, it kind of shows that they're more like, you know, they're more meant for each other than the girl that he met earlier in the film.
He has a question from João. I know the time you spend working on Benny, so I would like, I think, to know what would be your advice for the young filmmakers.
It's probably advice you've heard before, but I'll say this. You're not going to have a lot of money, but you will have all the equipment that you need. You know, DaVinci Resolve is free. You can get a little Blackmagic pocket.
It's so easy nowadays.
It's so easy. I mean, I'm
oh
so
my God,
old.
in the 80s, VHS.
Yeah. I'm so old making a film because it just wasn't possible up until maybe 5 or 10 years ago. Not at the level that it is now. You know, I came out of college back in the 80s and it was all editing VHS. You had to push play on one, record on the other. That's all you could do.
My husband did that.
Yeah, and it looks terrible. You couldn't make a feature film like that. So we all went out and got jobs, and it's only been, I'd say, I mean, maybe pushing it to 10 years, the last 10 years that you've been able to go out there with very little money and make a film. So I would say, you know, just look at what you've got available to you. You know, if you've got a couple of friends and they've got a few apartments, if you've got somebody that owns a garage, somebody that has got a restaurant, just write a film based around those things. You know, take whatever resources you've got.
Just only the equipment. You have to have an idea. You have friends to help you now.
Exactly, and it's all about the execution. You know, you always hear this term, there's no original ideas, and there really isn't. It's really just about your own take on an existing idea. Like, this is how I would do this bit from the film. I like this bit from here, but I don't like the way they did this, but I do it this way. So if you can do that and then try and fashion it around things that you have available to you, you know, if you've got friends that are actors, and like say, if you've got someone that owns a nightclub, you know, kind of
some parents.
Yeah, some parents with some money. I always remember John Carpenter when he wrote The Thing. I mean, he passed it off to Bill Lancaster, but his idea came first from the blood testing scene, and that was it.
I love this scene.
It's the best scene in the movie, right? But that's kind of just what was here, and he's just like, okay,
high tension.
Yeah, how do I write a film based, you know, I'll make the rest of the film fit that. And I think it's not a bad thing to do, you know, is what do you have available to you? And then fashion it around that.
Okay, let's see. I have another question here. So much love involved. Good night.
Yeah, there's a few hearts there.
Okay, another question. That is your second time on Fantaspoa. Your first time was last year, Pandemic Anthology.
Oh, yes.
Could you tell us about this?
Well, that was actually because I was in touch with Joe, who's the director of Fantaspoa, and we got chatting, and I was kind of in post-production of Benny at the time, and we were talking about that, and we got to know each other, and he said, oh, I'm doing a competition for Fantaspoa, you know, would you like to make something to go in it? And I said, how long have I got? And I think he said like 48 hours. And so for me, it was actually a really fun thing to do because I hadn't made a film since Benny. I mean, remember, I've been sat in a shed for 4 or 5 years doing post-production. And then all of a sudden I had 2 days to come up with a little short. And so it was really good fun. And again, it was during the pandemic. So it was just me and my housemate. And we just...
And it's one of the best segments.
Oh, thank you. That's very nice of you to say so. Yeah, it was just fun to do. I just wanted to get behind the camera again. And you see, the thing is, when I write something, I always take ages to do it. And I rarely do. Like when I was probably in my early 20s, I would always just pick up a camera and say, let's make something tonight. And then it goes from that to, no, it's all going to be planned. We've got to write it and rewrite it. And so it was really good just to be thrown back into that situation again, where someone said, you've got 48 hours to make something. It doesn't matter what it is. That's your deadline. And it was just fun. So I treated it like one of those little film competitions that you enter. And
that's the spirit.
Yeah, I wanted to do it because I could have said, oh, I haven't got time to do that. But I thought, well, we're all locked indoors. I'm sure I can do it in 2 days. So yeah, it was really good fun.
Oh, Laura is asking, did you watch any of the movies at Fantaspoa this edition?
This edition, no, I haven't. And Well, actually, I've seen some in some other festivals. I've seen The Stylist. I really, really like that. But I don't think I can. I don't think I can get the Fantaspoa Festival because I'm in the UK. So it'll be geo-logged, which is why I can't log in and see some of the films. But I have, I've seen a couple of. We've done the festival circuit for the last year, so there are a few films that I've seen.
I saw some of the movies because I was doing the subtitles, including Benny Loves You.
Ah, right, okay, yes, yeah. The Stylist, that's a great movie, yeah.
Oh, there is another question. With the recent success of Godzilla vs. King Kong, assuming someone made you an offer for a sequel, who would you have Benny fight against in a brawl? Or would you go another direction? That's a good one.
It's a very good one. I think it depends on how much they paid me. Is the it's the answer to that. I mean, if it was Godzilla and King Kong, I'm presuming that you're going to have a budget. I mean, maybe he should go up against the Marshmallow Man from Ghostbusters.
Ooh, nice.
Just too ridiculous. Just I think it would have to be. And Marshmallow Man would still be the size of the Empire State Building, and Benny would be this size.
Oh gosh. Oh, show us Benny. Everyone wants to see Benny.
So this is the little Benny. There we go.
Ow.
This is the little one with that. He's got his little voice box in. So he's got 12 sayings on him.
We want to buy Benny.
Yeah, we're going to. The thing was we never intended to do this, but after the film was released in the UK, everyone was just saying, where can I get a Benny? Where can I get a Benny?
Please.
So it's like, okay, we'll do them. So we're getting them made at the moment. This is a prototype, so he's being made right now. He's got a little knife in his hand, look, and you push that.
Oh.
Yeah, so he's got like 12 phrases on him from the movie, and we're just going to put those on. I mean, if you follow us on Facebook or Twitter, we're going to put those on our website when they're done and sell them. At the moment, we're only doing shipping to the UK, but if we get enough interest, we'll look at how we can get them shipped internationally as well. But that's little Benny.
Okay, is there another question, everybody? Let's go.
They are all out.
No. Okay. So, unfortunately, we have to finish this Q&A. It was really nice, really funny.
Yes, thank you for having me. It's been good.
Do you have a message for the Brazilian audience?
Just to have, I mean, things are pretty dire in the world at the moment. I would just say, just get pissed, have a wonderful time, watch as many. There's nothing better to take your mind off the crap that's going on than watching horror movies. You are all in the right place. So have fun and have a fantastic festival.
Okay, thank you, Karl. We hope to get to know you in person, maybe in the next Fantaspoa, with a Q&A with flesh and bone people to talk with.
Real life human beings would be nice. Yeah, social interactions been limited lately, hasn't it?
Okay, and João needs to tell me how to finish this thing. He's coming back.
Much, Karl. It was great having you here, and the Q&A went very smoothly, and I'm sure that the audience will be able. This will be live, as you. The live moment was just now, but you can tell or your friends that this will be online.
Okay, I will. I'll be sharing the link on all our profiles and stuff. So thanks very much for having me, everybody, and Benny loves you all.
Thank you. Bye bye.
We love Benny. Bye.
Bye bye.